our next topic is your general characteristics of your protozoa. So you have to do your hay infusion in order for you to come up with a different protozoans that you can see during your laboratory. So you already know some sort of your protozoans that they are a single cell eukaryotic organisms that play a significant role in your medical anatomy, physiology, and parasitology. So your parasites can affect your human health. Okay, so most of the parasites. So I will be presenting some sort of your protozoans prior to your parasitology. Okay, so I hope this will help you on your parasitology subjects. Okay, so we have different or common diseases or common protozoans like your Plasmodium, your Trypanosomia, Entamoeba, Giardia, Toxoplasma gondii. So you need to understand their life cycles because this is crucial for your diagnosis, treatment, and preventions of the disease itself. So the different protozoans are very complex. Depende sa kanilang life cycle. So some sort of the protozoans that I will be presenting are the common. So it's just a run through of your basic or common parasites in order to show lang on how their life cycle do on our body and how would affect the health of each individuals who are infected with these diseases. Okay, thank you, and please do watch the succeeding discussion. So the word protozoa is comes from the Greek protozoon, word means first animal. So the word protozoa first coined by George August Goldfuss in 1818. Protozoans are unicellular or maybe multicellular eukaryotic organisms which constitute a large group, about 65,000 species, most of which are harmless, free-living, and inhabitants of water and soil. So the characteristics of protozoans are unicellular organisms with fully functional cells, aquatic, free-living, and maybe parasitic or symbiotic. So they are chemoheterotrophic organisms and they do not have chlorophyll. So they are motile, have locomotive organelles like flagella, cilia for movements. For example, your Paramecium, Euglena, and your amoeba. So the size of your protozoans ranges from 3 to 300 micrometers, and few ciliates and amoeba are larger enough to be seen with naked eyes because they are about 4 to 5 millimeters. So exception, sporocytes, all types of protozoans are motile, either through flagella, cilia, or your pseudopodia, and have an eyesight that can detect change in light, responds to light, and learn by trial and error. So as you can see here, the black spot at the middle, that's their eye spot. So the morphology of protozoans resembles like an animal cells, which contains major cell organelles, including your nucleus and mitochondria. So their organelles are highly specialized for feeding, reproduction, and movement. And the cytoplasm of protozoans are divided into ectoplasm and your endoplasm. So most of your protozoans feed on your dead plants and animals, while your tropozoites feed on bacteria and algae. So your parasitic protozoans feeds on the fluids and tissues of their hosts, like your plasma and blood cells, for example, of your Plasmodium species. So some protozoans live in symbiotic relationship with other plants and animals. So So we have your different classifications of protozoans. So your protozoans are classified on the basis of their motility and methods of reproduction. So they are classified into four main. We have your flagellates, ciliates, sarcodina, and sporozoates. So your flagellates move by a help of flagella or attic tail-like structures, which the movement is whip-like. So we have your flagellates, we have your trypanosoma, leishmania, giardia, and your trichomonas. So your chacha fly will be the carrier of your African trypanosomiasis. And your chacha fly will take a blood meal on your body, especially on your skin. And it will inject metacyclic trypamastigotes that will transform into trypamastigotes via binary fissions in your blood, lymph, and spinal fluid. And it will circulate throughout your body. So your TB rhodiense, the reservoir are your cattle and other wild ungulates. Your your blue portion is same with your red portion on the end of your checha fly. Okay? And your blue portion is your mammalian stage on human. So you can detect this African trypanosomiasis via your thick and thin blood smear. So, and also centrifugation of heparized samples and an ion exchange chromatography. You can also use serologic tests and immunofluorescence, ELISA, and agglutination. So you will learn how they will going to detect this African trypanosomiasis on your medical parasitology. Next is your leishmaniasis. So we have also your sandfly as a carrier of this disease. So we have also your sandfly and your human stage. So your sandfly will inject again promastigote stage on your skin. Now your promastigotes are phagocytes by your macrophage, and your promastigote transform into amastigotes. Then your amastigotes will multiply in cell of various tissues and infect other cells throughout your body. That will be your human or mammalian stage. Now in your sandfly, you can see here that uh, it will take a blood meal on your body who are infected with that amastigotes. Then there will be an ingestion of parasite cells, and your amastigotes will transform into promastigote stage in the gut of your sandfly, and it will divided in the gut and migrate to proboscis, which makes your sandfly as a carrier of this leishmaniasis. So on your onset of this um, leishmaniasis, you will have your pyrexia, anemia, and hypergamma anemia. So we have also your Kala-Azar on these diseases that will be HIV co-infections and dermal leishmaniasis. So further, it will be complicated into your pneumonia, tuberculosis, dysentery, and uncontrolled hemorrhage. Next is your giardiasis. So your giardiasis develop for the period of 1 to 14 days and usually 1 to 3 weeks. That causes diarrhea, abdominal pain, bloating, nausea, and vomiting. And it will be on the food you take if it's contaminated by these trophozoates of your giardiasis. So if you ingest your trophozoates and it will ingest, they will affect your digestive system that causes your um, different symptoms I have mentioned. Next is your um, Trichomonas vaginalis that infects your vagina. So this will be transferred via sexual intercourse, and you will be examined by this Trichomonas vaginalis by microscopic examinations of wet film from the discharge of the parts of your reproductive system. So the detection of this Trichomonas vaginalis will be the enzyme immunoassay, direct inflorescent antibody test, and the detection of DNA of the parasites by your molecular techniques. So, so these are some of your diseases on your protozoans. So next is your ciliates. So your ciliates move through cilia, which is a fine hair-like structures attached in their body. So some protozoa have a special kind of cilia for feeding and attachment. So one of the species here is your Balantidium coli, which is pathogenic in humans that can cause dysentery. So your Balantidium coli is an oval, thick outer wall, contains macronucleus and contractile vacuoles are visible in the cyst. So the cilia are undetectable, only the root may present. So you can see here your tropozoate and your mature cyst. So also, um, it will also affect your digestive system if you has a cyst ingestion during eating of contaminated food and water. So this is how the transfer of your ciliates on your digestive system. So, and you can see here the life cycle of your um, ciliates or your Balantidium coli. Next is your Sarcodina. So, major locomotor organelles in Sarcodina is your pseudopodia, which means false, or for your podia, it means foot. So, this cause common example of your Sarcodina is your amoeba, which is most species are harmless. But your Antiamoeba species is a parasitic for human causes intestinal diseases. So amoebiasis are you in the species of your Antiamoeba that will also have an effect of your digestive system, especially on your colon. So you can also ingest cysts and tropozoates. And as you can see here, the life cycle of your um, antiamoeba. So majority of these infection are restricted in your lumen of your intestines, which can be asymptomatic. And your amoebic colitis, which occurs in your mucosal when it's invaded. So or you may experience your dysentery and other complications that will affect your body. And also, it will harm also your liver for amoebic liver abscesses that are most commonly manifestation of your extraintestinal amoebiasis. And also, it will affect also your uh, brain, that will cause um, effects on your brain, your necrotic lesion on your skin, and your genitalia can also be infected by your antiamoeba. Next is your sporozoates. this as the only non-motile form of protozoa, which is developed sexual and asexual stage. So the entire group is parasitic in nature and are harmful. So some common example here are your Plasmodium and your Toxoplasma gondii that causes toxoplasmosis and malaria. So your Toxoplasma gondii will be acquired in the ingestion of undercooked meat via your Toxoplasmosis. And also, uh, you can also ingest oocytes by contaminated hands or food. You can also get from organ transplantation and blood transfusion, and also be transferred via transplacental transmission, and there will be a accidental inoculation of your tachyzoates. So this parasite form tissue cysts that will commonly affect your skeletal muscle, myocardium, and brain. And it will be forever throughout your life the remains of the cysts of your Toxoplasma gondii. Next is your Plasmodium. So your Plasmodium species that will cause malaria. So the carrier of this Plasmodium is your female mosquito, which is your Anopheles mosquito. So your female mosquitoes take blood meals for egg production, and your blood meals will be linked between the human and the mosquito's host parasite life cycle, which is your Plasmodium. And it will be transferred to your bloodstream that along the way it will transform into your oocysts, and it will further produce sporozoates that will infect your blood. So you can see here the life cycle and the stages of the formation of your plasmodium in the body. Next is the reproduction of your protozoan by sexual and asexual methods. So your asexual method, we have your budding and binary fission, while your sexual method, we have your conjugations and gametogeny. Your budding is a new individual that is produced by separation of a portion of the cytoplasm of the parent organisms with a daughter nucleus. So it may be simple or multiple, exogenous or endogenous budding, which is common in Soctorians. So we have your example here, your Noctiluca and Tocophyra. Next is your binary fission, which is a sexual reproduction by a separation of body into two new bodies. So in the process of your binary fission, an organism duplicates its genetic material or your DNA and then divides into two parts, which will be your cytokinesis, with each new organism receiving one copy of their DNA. So you can see here the three ways on how your binary fission will be done. So we have your longitudinal, transverse, and your irregular. So your sexual reproduction on your protozoans will be conjugations where two protozoa meet together and exchange their genetic materials, and your gametogony is the union of two sexually differentiated cells that will occur cell divisions that will be or that will have a formation of your gametes. So On your conjugations, there is a temporary union of two mating types of individuals of the same species to facilitate exchange of your nuclear material. So the conjugates may be either isogamous, for example, is your paramecium, or your anisogonous, which is your vorticella. So in protozoans, uh, conjugation is a form of their sexual reproduction that involves in the exchange of their genetic materials between two organisms. So you can see here, um, there will be a pairing of two compatible two compatible protozoans that will contact and align themselves closely. Now, they will undergo meiosis, and the protozoans will exchange macronuclei, which are specialized nuclei for DNA genetic exchange here. And each organism donates one of its macronuclei to another, as you can see here. And there will be a fusion exchange that will undergo the corresponding nuclei to their recipient protozoans, leading to the formation of your new micronuclei here. Now, there will be a new micronuclei that will undergo several diffusion and reorganizations, contributing to your DNA recombinant and its diversity. So after that, there will be a separation of the exchange of recombinant of your genetic materials, which have the two protozoa has. So each of them will undergo mitotic divisions to produce a new combination of genetic materials that will produce offspring. So this process of conjugations will increase genetic diversity that will help these protozoans adapt to their changing environments. So you can see your syngamy, which is the process of sexual reproduction where there are two gametes, sperm and egg cell, fused to form a single zygote that mostly occurs on your protozoans. So there will be a fusion of your um, micronuclei, your two haploid micronuclei to the different individuals of protozoans. And um, this will be a result in genetic recombinations, and they will have its genetic diversity throughout their populations. And that's all. Thank you. And I hope this will give you a glimpse of your um, future subjects on your medical anatomy and physiology in and your parasitology. Thank you for listening.